The dark truth about ancient humans that will shock Yowit. If everything we've been taught about the ancient world is a lie, what if there's a dark secret about our ancestors that has been hidden from us for centuries? Imagine discovering that the history we believe is merely the tip of an enormous, buried iceberg, a truth so shocking it could rewrite everything we know about the origins of human civilization. Stick around, because this truth might just change how you see the world forever. Introduction to ancient civilizations, the history we know. The basics we've been taught. We've all heard the stories. Ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Maya, and the Indus Valley, the foundations of human civilization as we know it. But when we think of these civilizations, what comes to mind? Monuments, pyramids, grand temples, and early forms of writing. Most of us learn in school that these civilizations were primitive in many ways. They lacked the advanced technology we take for granted today. But what if that's not the full picture? Let's take a step back and look at the basics of what we know. Ancient Egypt, for example, is often portrayed as a highly advanced civilization. They constructed massive pyramids, developed an intricate system of writing, and even understood astronomy well enough to align their pyramids with the stars. Yet, their technology was still considered rudimentary by today's standards. The tools they used were made from stone and copper, and their technology never advanced in the way that, say, modern computers or airplanes did. It's easy to assume that these early humans were limited by the tools and materials available to them. However, when we dig a little deeper, we find that many of the stories we've been taught about these ancient civilizations are incomplete or oversimplified. We're told that they lacked advanced technologies because they didn't have the same industrial revolutions or the same tools that modern humanity enjoys. But does this really mean they were less advanced, or did they simply work in ways we can't fully comprehend? The truth is, the conventional view of ancient civilizations often doesn't account for the impressive feats they managed to achieve. We might see their accomplishments as the work of primitive people, but were they truly primitive? Or were we too quick to judge them based on the limited knowledge we have? The mysteries in the ruins, evidence suggesting that our ancestors might have been far more advanced than we realize. No. Let's look at the ruins. The Great Pyramids of Egypt, the city of Teotihuacan, and the massive structures in places like Machu Picchu. These are not just remnants of ancient times. They are marvels of engineering. We've been taught that these ancient cultures had no sophisticated technology, but consider the sheer scale and precision of their constructions. How did the ancient Egyptians transport massive stones weighing tons? How did the Maya build towering pyramids and intricate cities without modern cranes or heavy machinery? The truth is, we don't really know. Modern engineers and architects often scratch their heads at the complexity of these structures, wondering how the ancients could have achieved such feats without modern tools. For instance, in Egypt, the Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the compass. The precision required to achieve this alignment is staggering, especially when you consider that the Egyptians didn't have compasses, satellites, or even the basic tools we think of as essential for such tasks today. And what about the stonework in places like Puma Punku in Bolivia? The stones there are cut with such precision that it's hard to imagine how they could have been shaped without advanced tools. Some stones fit so perfectly together that even a piece of paper can't be slid between them. Could ancient people have had the knowledge and tools to perform such feats? Or were they part of a more sophisticated civilization that we simply don't understand? What about the mysterious lines in the desert of Nazca, Peru? These massive, intricate patterns can only be fully appreciated from the air. How could a civilization, supposedly lacking flight or aerial observation, have created such massive designs with such precision? The fact that we still don't have a clear explanation for these mysteries is a sign that we may not fully understand the capabilities of these ancient civilizations. Hidden discoveries, the first shocking evidence of secrets buried deep within the ancient world. Over the years, there have been several discoveries that challenge the conventional narrative. Evidence of advanced technologies and knowledge that were supposedly lost to time keeps resurfacing. In recent decades, researchers have uncovered ancient texts and artifacts that suggest our ancestors might have known much more than we've been led to believe. One of the most famous examples is the Antikythera mechanism, a complex device discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901. Often referred to as the world's first analog computer, it was used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses. The mechanism, which dates back to around 100 BC, is far more advanced than anything else from that time. But how could the ancient Greeks have constructed such a sophisticated device, especially when their known technology didn't appear to support such a complex invention? Then there's the discovery of the Baghdad battery, a clay jar found in Iraq that dates back to around 50 BC. This ancient artifact is believed by some researchers to be an early form of a galvanic cell, essentially a primitive battery. Could the people of ancient Mesopotamia have been using electricity? If so, why did this knowledge vanish? And why do we not see it again until the development of modern batteries? These discoveries suggest that there is much more to our ancient past than we realize. Perhaps these civilizations were far more advanced than we think, but their knowledge was lost, either destroyed or deliberately hidden over time. With each new discovery, the story of ancient civilizations becomes more complex, more mysterious, and more fascinating. In the end, what we've been taught about ancient civilizations is just the surface. The deeper we dig, the more we uncover shocking revelations that suggest our ancestors were capable of far more than we could have imagined. As new discoveries continue to unfold, one thing is clear: the ancient world is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. A look at lost technologies, from power sources to medical advancements, who often assume that ancient humans were primitive, living in an era devoid of the technological marvels we take for granted today. Our mindset tends to focus on their lack of modern tools, electricity, or advanced machinery. But what if we're wrong? What if ancient humans had access to technologies far beyond what we could have imagined, technologies that have been lost to time, destruction, or deliberate suppression? Take, for example, the ancient Egyptians. We marvel at their monumental achievements, like the Great Pyramid of Giza. But consider this: the Egyptians had a deep understanding of geometry, astronomy, and even medicine. They were known to have sophisticated medical knowledge, using herbs and surgical techniques that could rival those of modern times. Ancient medical texts, like the Edwin Smith Papyrus, suggest that the Egyptians had advanced knowledge of anatomy and even performed surgeries such as trepanation, removing part of the skull to treat head injuries. And what about their knowledge of power? The Egyptians harnessed energy sources in ways that are still not fully understood. The famous Dendera light reliefs found in the Hathor Temple at Dendera depict what appear to be light bulbs, with snakes emerging from their bases and what seem to be electric cables. Could these ancient artifacts suggest that the Egyptians had access to a form of electricity long before the age of Thomas Edison? Or could they have known how to harness energy from natural sources like the sun or geothermal vents? It's unclear. But what is clear is that the Egyptians were far more advanced than we often give them credit for. In other ancient civilizations, similar technological mysteries abound. The Maya, for instance, had an advanced understanding of the stars and planets, which allowed them to construct intricate calendars and predict solar eclipses. They were able to align their structures with great precision, something that many modern engineers struggle to replicate. Could these cultures have also possessed other hidden technologies, perhaps powered by natural sources we have long forgotten? Ancient buildings and monuments, how were they built? Was there more to the construction than we thought? When we look at the great structures of the ancient world, we are often in awe of their sheer size and complexity. From the pyramids of Giza to the temples of Angkor Wat, these monuments are marvels of engineering. But how were they built? Were the ancient peoples simply incredibly skilled? Or did they possess secret knowledge and tools that modern science has yet to fully understand? Take the Great Pyramid of Giza, for example. This massive structure, built with millions of limestone blocks, remains an enduring testament to ancient engineering. But how were these stones moved and placed with such precision? Some stones weigh as much as 80 tons. Yet there is no definitive explanation for how the Egyptians could have transported them, especially given that they didn't have modern cranes or transportation methods. Some researchers suggest that the Egyptians used ramps or levers, but these theories still don't fully account for the precise alignments and angles that the pyramid achieves. Similarly, the stonework at Puma Punku in Bolivia raises even more questions. The stones are cut with such precision that they fit together without the use of mortar. Modern engineers can barely replicate the level of precision seen in the stonework at Puma Punku. How did the ancient builders achieve such perfect cuts? Could they have had access to advanced tools made from materials that have long since been lost or destroyed? Even in the world of ancient Roman architecture, there are clues that suggest a level of sophistication that goes beyond what we assume. The Romans were masters of concrete, and their ability to create durable structures like the Pantheon, which still stands today, is astounding. Some researchers believe that the Romans possessed a form of concrete that was far superior to anything we can create today. Their use of volcanic ash in their concrete mix has only recently been understood, and modern scientists have begun to study these ancient techniques to recreate their superior material. Across the world, ancient cultures left behind impressive structures that defy explanation. Whether it's the gigantic megaliths of Stonehenge or the massive temples in Cambodia, we are left wondering how ancient builders achieved such feats. With the technology we believe they had, it's possible that these civilizations had access to lost technologies, tools, machines, or materials that were far more advanced than what we've traditionally given them credit for. The forgotten knowledge, examining how knowledge might have been deliberately erased from history. The more we dig into ancient civilizations, the more we uncover evidence of lost technologies and knowledge. But there's another, darker possibility to consider. What if some of this knowledge was deliberately erased from history? What if, over time, ancient discoveries were suppressed, hidden, or destroyed? One of the most famous examples of this kind of erasure is the burning of the Library of Alexandria. This ancient library, which housed thousands of scrolls containing the wisdom of the ancient world, was destroyed in a series of fires. Many historians believe that the loss of the library set humanity back by centuries, erasing valuable knowledge about science, medicine, and philosophy. What did we lose in the fire? Could there have been ancient texts that revealed lost technologies, theories, or methods that could have changed the course of history? In more recent history, the destruction of cultural and historical records has continued. In many ancient cultures, knowledge was passed down orally, and when those societies collapsed, so did their wisdom. For example, the fall of the Maya civilization led to the loss of much of their written knowledge. The Spanish conquistadors burned countless Maya codices, erasing centuries of astronomical and mathematical knowledge. What if those ancient texts contained secrets that could have advanced humanity much earlier? There are also theories suggesting that ancient civilizations may have intentionally hidden knowledge to control power. Some believe that certain groups, particularly religious institutions, deliberately suppressed technologies and ideas that were deemed too powerful or threatening. It's possible that some knowledge was hidden to prevent people from gaining access to technologies that could have shifted the balance of power in the ancient world. Whether through the destruction of libraries, the loss of oral traditions, or the deliberate suppression of knowledge, many believe that humanity's true potential has been stunted by forces throughout history. We may never know how much of this ancient wisdom was deliberately erased, but with each new discovery, we inch closer to uncovering the truth. The hidden histories of ancient humans, the unexplained gaps in human history. Where did these missing pieces go? If you take a close look at the timeline of human history, you might notice something strange: large gaps of unexplained time. Major civilizations seem to appear almost out of nowhere, with little explanation about where they came from or how they managed to achieve their extraordinary feats. From the sudden emergence of the Egyptians with their complex society, to the rise of the Sumerians and the Maya, there are large portions of history that seem to be missing, hidden, or simply glossed over. One of the biggest mysteries is the so-called Dark Ages in Europe, which spans several centuries of history. After the fall of the Roman Empire, it seems like civilization took a step backward. We know that great knowledge was lost during this period, but there is no clear explanation of where that knowledge went or why the advancement of science, art, and culture seemed to stagnate. What happened to the intellectual and technological advances that had been achieved by the Romans and Greeks? Did they just vanish? Or was this period intentionally suppressed to clear the way for new ideologies, religions, or powers? Similarly, there are unexplained gaps in the ancient world that predate recorded history. Archaeological evidence of ancient human activity often surfaces in places that make no sense, given what we know about the timeline of human development. For example, sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey have turned our understanding of prehistoric human civilization upside down. Göbekli Tepe is an ancient stone structure built over 12,000 years ago, long before the advent of agriculture. How could people without the means to build such a monument have done so? The answers remain unclear, but the existence of such sites suggests that human history might be far more complex than we've been led to believe. Where did these missing pieces go? Why is so much history left in the dark? Could they be buried beneath layers of time, forgotten in the sands of history? Or could there be a deeper, more deliberate reason for why certain parts of our past are obscured from view? Suppressed records and ancient texts. What has been hidden from the public eye for thousands of years? Throughout history, there have been countless records, texts, and artifacts that have been deliberately hidden or destroyed. Some were erased to protect the powerful or preserve certain ideologies, while others were lost by accident or due to natural disasters. But there's a disturbing pattern when we start looking into these suppressed records. Many of the texts and knowledge that have been hidden are the ones that could fundamentally change the way we view history and the capabilities of ancient humans. Take, for example, the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were discovered in the 1940s and 1950s. These ancient texts, which include biblical manuscripts dating back to the time of Jesus, provide an incredible insight into early Jewish religious practices. But many of the texts found in caves near the Dead Sea remain hidden to this day. Some scholars believe that certain scrolls were deliberately suppressed because they contained information that contradicted or challenged mainstream religious teachings. What secrets could these texts reveal, and why were they hidden? Throughout history, religious institutions have been some of the most powerful players in suppressing knowledge. In the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church actively worked to eliminate heretical ideas, and many texts and manuscripts were destroyed for their blasphemous content. Even today, there are rumors of lost ancient texts writings that could change our understanding of human civilization, safely locked away in secret archives. Could the Vatican, for example, be hiding knowledge of lost civilizations or ancient technologies that would alter our understanding of history? Some conspiracy theorists suggest that certain groups have intentionally kept knowledge out of the public domain, and perhaps even rewrote history itself. The Library of Alexandria, one of the most famous libraries of the ancient world, is often cited as one of the greatest losses of knowledge in human history. It is believed that the library contained thousands of scrolls covering a wide range of subjects from science to philosophy to history. But over the centuries, the library was subjected to several attacks and ultimately destroyed in a series of fires. Many historians believe that the loss of this immense body of knowledge set humanity back centuries. What was contained in those scrolls, and what did we lose when they were burned? Did they hold the keys to understanding ancient technologies, forgotten languages, or even the secrets of lost civilizations? Evidence of ancient encounters. Could there have been visitors from beyond our planet? One of the most compelling mysteries in the study of ancient history is the question of whether we were visited by beings from beyond our planet. This theory, known as the ancient astronaut hypothesis, suggests that extraterrestrial beings could have made contact with early human civilizations and shared knowledge or technology that was far ahead of what humans were capable of at the time. While the idea might sound like science fiction, there are a growing number of unexplained artifacts, texts, and ruins that seem to hint at the possibility. The most famous example of this theory is the Nazca lines in Peru. These massive geoglyphs, some as large as 1,000 to 100 feet, can only be fully appreciated from the air. They depict various animals, plants, and geometric shapes. But the question remains, how could ancient people, without the ability to fly or use aerial tools, have designed such large-scale drawings? Some researchers believe these lines were created with help from extraterrestrial visitors, who showed ancient civilizations how to create these giant figures as a form of communication or marking territory. Another fascinating example is the ancient Egyptian pyramids, as we discussed earlier. The precision with which these structures were built is mind-boggling. Could it be that the ancient Egyptians had help from advanced beings? Or did they possess knowledge of technologies that have since been forgotten? Some theorists believe that the pyramids may not just have been tombs or temples, but could have served a more mysterious purpose, perhaps even as energy generators. Could this be the kind of knowledge that was passed down to humanity from visitors from another world? There are also reports from ancient texts and artifacts that hint at otherworldly encounters. The ancient Sumerian texts, for example, describe beings called the Anunnaki, godlike figures who descended from the heavens. These beings were said to have taught the Sumerians about agriculture, mathematics, and even the creation of human beings. Could these gods have been visitors from another planet, or were they beings with technology far beyond what the Sumerians could understand? Though mainstream archaeology and history often dismiss these ideas, there are a growing number of scholars and enthusiasts who believe that ancient human history is far more complex than we've been told. Could there be evidence that human civilization, as we know it, was shaped by extraterrestrial encounters? If so, why has this knowledge been suppressed or ignored? The rise and fall of forgotten civilizations. Timeline of humanity. The rise of great civilizations and their mysterious collapse. Every great civilization we study, whether it's the Egyptians, the Maya, or the Sumerians, seems to have one thing in common: they reached astounding heights, only to suddenly collapse or fade into obscurity. The question is, why? What causes entire civilizations to crumble after achieving so much? Is there a pattern to their rise and fall, or is it merely the inevitable outcome of human history? One of the most fascinating aspects of ancient history is the way some civilizations seemingly appeared out of nowhere, reached incredible achievements, and then disappeared without a trace. The Egyptians, for example, built the Great Pyramids of Giza, monuments that have stood for thousands of years. But after the height of their empire, Egypt went into a period of decline. The reasons for this decline are still debated. Was it caused by external invaders? Or was it the result of internal political strife? Or could there have been an environmental factor, such as climate change or resource depletion, that caused their downfall? The Maya civilization presents another fascinating case. The Maya built sprawling cities, developed an intricate writing system, and made impressive advancements in astronomy and mathematics. Yet, despite their advancements, the Maya mysteriously abandoned many of their great cities around the 9th century. What led to the fall of one of the most sophisticated civilizations in the Americas? Theories abound, ranging from overpopulation and environmental degradation to warfare and political instability. But one of the most intriguing ideas is that the Maya were simply overwhelmed by forces beyond their control, forces they couldn't predict or manage. The collapse of the Indus Valley civilization is another enigma. This civilization, which flourished around 4,000 years ago in what is now Pakistan and India, boasted impressive cities with advanced drainage systems, standardized weights and measures, and large urban centers. Yet, for reasons that remain unclear, the civilization suddenly disappeared. There are no definitive answers, but some theories point to environmental shifts like climate change or tectonic activity that may have altered the landscape. Or could it have been the result of war or migration? What these civilizations share is a sense of mystery and unsettling feeling that, despite their advancements, they were somehow blindsided by an unknown factor. Was there an external force that caused their downfall? Or did internal weaknesses and environmental changes play a role? Whatever the cause, these civilizations left behind legacies that we still marvel at. But their disappearance raises a haunting question. Could the same forces that led to their collapse be at work in our world today? Cataclysms, natural disasters, and the loss of knowledge. How civilizations could vanish in the blink of an eye. When we think about the rise and fall of ancient civilizations, we often look for political, economic, or social reasons behind their decline. But there's another factor, something far more unpredictable, that could have caused the sudden demise of these great societies: natural disasters. History is filled with examples of civilizations that were decimated by cataclysmic events. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and floods can change the course of a civilization's development in a matter of days or weeks. Take the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, which buried the Roman city of Pompeii under ash and pumice. The eruption was so sudden and violent that the inhabitants had no time to escape. The eruption preserved the city for centuries, giving us a remarkable look into Roman life. But it also marked the tragic end of Pompeii's thriving civilization. Similarly, the eruption of Krakatoa in 1883 caused massive tsunamis and widespread devastation, with ash clouds causing global cooling for years afterward. While this event didn't end a civilization, it serves as a powerful reminder of how a natural disaster can disrupt human progress on a global scale. In ancient times, such natural events could have had even more devastating effects. The Minoan civilization, which thrived on the island of Crete around 1600 BC, is believed to have been wiped out by a volcanic eruption on the nearby island of Thera, modern-day Santorini. The eruption caused massive tidal waves and ash fallout, which severely disrupted Minoan trade routes and agriculture, leading to their eventual collapse. Climate change, too, could have played a significant role in the downfall of ancient civilizations. Droughts, shifts in weather patterns, and rising sea levels have all been cited as possible causes for the fall of the Maya, the Anasazi, and others. It's possible that these civilizations, despite their incredible achievements, were simply unable to cope with environmental changes that they couldn't predict or adapt to in time. But what makes these natural disasters even more intriguing is the way they can wipe out entire knowledge systems. When a city is destroyed or a civilization falls into decline, valuable knowledge is often lost in the process. Books, scrolls, and records are destroyed, and the people who held the knowledge are either killed or displaced. In this way, civilizations don't just fall, they leave behind a void of knowledge, one that we may never fully be able to fill. And as history has shown, when knowledge is lost, it's often not rediscovered until much later, if at all. The theories of what caused their fall: were they victims of their own advancements? One of the most fascinating theories regarding the fall of ancient civilizations is that they might have been victims of their own advancements. This idea suggests that as civilizations grow, their technological, political, and social systems become more complex, and as they do, they become more vulnerable to collapse. The Romans, for example, were known for their advanced engineering, vast road networks, and efficient governance. However, as their empire expanded, so did the complexity of their systems. Their military became stretched thin, their economy was weakened by corruption and overspending, and their political system became unstable due to internal power struggles. Eventually, these weaknesses led to the fall of the Roman Empire. Similarly, the Maya may have faced environmental challenges that their sophisticated systems couldn't handle. They relied heavily on agriculture, and when their environment became less stable due to prolonged droughts, their society was unable to adapt quickly enough. The massive urban centers that had once thrived began to empty out, and the once great civilizations slowly faded into obscurity. In both of these cases, and others, the civilizations reached a point where their advancements, instead of protecting them, became a liability. The complexity of their systems made them vulnerable to unexpected disruptions, whether from natural disasters, internal strife, or outside pressures. Could we be headed in the same direction today? As our own societies become more complex, interconnected, and reliant on technology, there are growing concerns that our advancements could eventually backfire. The more we build, the more fragile our systems may become, leaving us vulnerable to unforeseen challenges. If history has taught us anything, it's that no civilization is truly invincible. The true legacy of ancient humans. What will we discover? Next, the modern rediscovery of ancient wisdom. The role of technology in uncovering lost knowledges. We stand on the brink of new technological advances. We're beginning to uncover secrets of the past that were thought to be lost forever. The tools we now have at our disposal are allowing us to rediscover ancient wisdom that could have been buried for centuries. Ancient knowledge and lost technologies that were once beyond our reach are starting to come into focus, thanks to innovations in fields like archaeology, geology, and digital scanning. One of the most exciting ways technology is helping us uncover lost knowledge is through the use of non-invasive techniques like ground-penetrating radar and LiDAR, light detection and ranging. These technologies have been used to scan the Earth's surface without digging, allowing scientists to detect ancient structures hidden beneath thick layers of vegetation or soil. In recent years, LiDAR has been used to reveal entire lost cities in the jungles of Central America, including a massive network of Maya cities that had been completely obscured by dense rainforest. For example, LiDAR scans of the region surrounding the ancient Maya city of Tikal in Guatemala revealed thousands of previously undiscovered structures, everything from roads to complex building foundations. What was once thought to be a sparse region of ruins has turned out to be an intricate network of thriving cities. This is only the beginning. The technology is evolving, and with it, our ability to uncover the full extent of ancient civilizations. Achievements. The same technology has also been used to scan ancient Egyptian sites. In 2017, researchers used LiDAR to uncover hidden chambers in the Great Pyramid of Giza. These chambers were previously unknown to modern archaeologists, and their discovery could give us a deeper understanding of how the pyramid was constructed. We may soon learn that the techniques used by the Egyptians were far more advanced than we could have ever imagined. But it's not just the technology itself that's revealing these secrets. It's also the growing collaboration between scientists, archaeologists, and artificial intelligence. AI is being employed to analyze ancient texts, inscriptions, and patterns in archaeological sites, allowing us to decipher languages, identify previously unnoticed patterns, and even predict where new discoveries might be made. AI has already made huge strides in deciphering the ancient scripts of civilizations like the Indus Valley, which have remained a mystery for thousands of years. With these advanced technologies, the ancient world is slowly revealing its hidden secrets. Every new discovery brings us closer to understanding just how advanced our ancestors really were, and how much of their wisdom we've yet to uncover. Ancient prophecies and what they could mean for the future. Do they predict our rise or our fall? As we uncover more about ancient civilizations, we begin to realize that these societies didn't just leave behind monuments and technological marvels. They also left behind prophecies, some of which seem to predict events that have already occurred, while others offer a glimpse into the future. Could these prophecies be more than just symbolic? Could they contain wisdom about our own civilization? And if so, what might they have to say about our future? Ancient texts and inscriptions often contain prophetic elements, some of which have captivated researchers and historians for centuries. The Mayan calendar, for instance, famously predicted the end of the world in 2012, though we now know that this prediction was a misinterpretation. In reality, the Maya were simply marking the end of one era and the beginning of another, a cyclical view of time that was central to their belief system. But it begs the question, did the Maya and other ancient cultures have a deeper understanding of time and the future than we realized? Were they aware of patterns that might suggest the rise and fall of civilizations? The ancient Sumerians also have texts that describe a future where humankind faces destruction, but with the possibility of rebirth. These apocalyptic texts speak of a time when a great flood will destroy civilization, after which humanity will rise again to build a new world. Many of these prophecies mirror themes found in other ancient civilizations, such as the biblical flood story, suggesting that ancient cultures may have shared similar beliefs about the cyclical nature of human history. Even the Egyptians left behind warnings and prophecies encoded in their monumental tombs and pyramids. Some believe that the pyramids were not just tombs, but also astronomical markers, meant to guide humanity through cosmic cycles. The alignments and measurements of the Great Pyramid of Giza are so precise that some theorists argue they could serve as a tool to predict future events. Could these ancient predictions be linked to natural cycles like shifts in the Earth's climate, the movements of celestial bodies, or the rise and fall of civilizations. The fascinating thing about these prophecies is that they aren't just relics of the past. Many people believe that they still hold relevance today. The ancient cultures that left us these prophecies had an intricate understanding of the world around them, and as we uncover their knowledge, we are forced to ask, what did they know that we don't? The unsettling truth. What happens when we uncover the rest of the dark history of humanity? What will it mean for our future? As we continue to uncover the lost knowledge of ancient civilizations, we are faced with a troubling question. What happens when we uncover the rest of humanity's dark history? Every time we discover a lost artifact, an ancient manuscript, or a long-buried city, we reveal a part of ourselves. But with each revelation comes the possibility that we might uncover something unsettling, something that could fundamentally change the way we understand ourselves, our history, and our place in the world. What if these lost civilizations were not just victims of time and environmental change, but victims of forces we still don't fully understand? What if their downfall wasn't inevitable, but the result of decisions made by powerful individuals or groups who knew something we don't? Could we too be headed down the same path? The discovery of lost knowledge could also mean the rediscovery of lost technologies that could either elevate humanity to new heights or potentially threaten our existence. What if the ancient civilizations knew how to harness energy in ways we've only just begun to understand? What if they discovered ways to manipulate the environment or even to interact with extraterrestrial life that we could only dream of today? Could this knowledge be used to solve the challenges of modern society? Or would it lead to new problems we're not prepared to face? As we uncover the mysteries of our past, we may realize that we are walking a fine line between rediscovering the wisdom of the ancients and awakening something that was best left undisturbed. The true legacy of these ancient humans may not be the monuments they built, but the knowledge they left behind, knowledge that could either illuminate the future or darken it forever.